welcome back to my YouTube channel. In honor of October and all of its spooky goodness, I decided to start a little series that includes everything spooky, scary, controversial, occult, and anything else that fits into that category. Lately, I've been listening to a lot more goth music, and it's not something that I'm complaining about, but it definitely made me begin to wonder about its origins, as a lot of things make me wonder about origins. The term goth and where it came from. So once again, we have the iPad, and with this, I investigated like Nancy Drew mixed with a bit of Jason Gideon to get this information. If there are some things that I have missed, or something that I should add, or something that you know that I didn't add, please feel free to comment about it. Please like the video and subscribe. Okay, we're gonna start with a little history lesson, so gather round, gather round. Our story takes place in the year of 300 AD during the Roman Empire's supreme reign. However, there was the presence of a group of nomadic Germanic people. Nomadic Germanic. These people, they were in a tribe called Goths. They were Goths. Their group was split into two main groups, the Western Visigoth tribe and the Eastern Ostrogoth tribes. The Western Goths were the descendants of an earlier group of Gothic people, the Thervingi, yes, who first invaded the Roman Empire in 376, as well as having defeated the Romans at Adrianople in 378. And despite being warring enemies, they traded with each other very frequently. So I mean, frenemies, just a bit. Then there was this guy named Alaric I, and he was named the first king of the Visigoths, resulting in the invasion of Italy, thus leading to the sacking of Rome and the fall of the Roman Empire. This then led to the Goths having control over a multiplicity of land, including present-day Germany, Danube and Don rivers in Eastern Europe, and the Black Sea in the south, as well as the Baltic Sea in the north. Due to them being in immense power during this time, people considered the power of the Goths to be the start of the medieval period. This also commenced the start of the term Goth being associated with being barbaric and destructive. According to the ellingmag.com, the designation of Goth fell out of favor until the Renaissance period, when it was used in a derogatory manner to describe medieval architecture. This term was first applied to this style in the 1530s by Giorgio Vasari, who used Goth synonymous with barbaric when classifying medieval art and architecture. The term re-emerged in the mid-18th century to identify another form of art, literature. By the 19th century, novels and poetry encompassing the themes of paranormal, decay, and macabre became more apparent, especially with famous authors like Edgar Allan Poe and Bram Stoker. I have a recommendation for you to read from Edgar Allan Poe. At this point, Gothic architecture and literature were considered, and I quote, a reaction against convention. The conceptualization of Goth was set in stone. Goth became the indicative of a counterculture which was marked by dark and gloomy and garish motives. Fast forward to the 1970s, and goth rock had become a genre in the music industry, making themselves pretty popular with bands like Joy Division, The Cure, Sisters of Mercy, Christian Death, and many more. And as music tends to breed style, so did goth rock for the gothic culture. The music, composed of reverbed, melancholic melodies, minor or bass chords doused in themes of sadness and morbidity, started to take on an aesthetic of its own, which included primarily black clothes, makeup, and hair. However, in contrast to the dark aura that encompassed those people, they also wore very white or pale makeup on their skin, not forgetting the religious and occult adornments that became highly prevalent within the culture, which, as a result, perfectly reflects the term Gothic as we know it today. To make things more exciting, there are also subcultures within the subculture, such as steampunk, gothabilly, cyber goth, the romantic goth, pastel goth, and so many more. It's honestly, it's really cool. Ooh, also Gothic Lolita, which surprised me a bit, but I do like it. And a couple of fun Gothic facts to close out this video. In 1818, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelby's debut novel, Frankenstein, marked a shift in Gothic horror by changing the typical Gothic villain from an evil man or a supernatural creature to a physical embodiment of human folly, brought to life through the power of science. And fact number 2, Barcelona has a really famous Gothic quarter that is historically seeped in the history of both Roman and medieval times. And at one time was surrounded by a big wall, and enclosed within the wall were a whole bunch of majestic buildings that, you know, represented Gothic architecture. Some of my reading recommendations that I definitely think that you should try out if you want to step into a bit of Gothic literature. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde is so good. I read it in under a week. I'm not giving summaries, but look them up. Really cool. Telltale Heart, Edgar Allan Poe. I first read it in 8th grade in honors English, and it was just wow, honestly. Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read it personally. I will, okay? I started listening to the audiobook just to find out that audiobooks aren't for me at all. But, I mean, why not put a little classic Gothic literature in there for you? Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl. Now, okay, traditionally, it is not considered Gothic literature. It's more of a black comedy, as they call it, but it definitely has some undertones. I mean, it's a really good read. It gives that same energy, in my opinion. This video was short, which is good because you learn a bit, and it was short and you don't have to stay here long. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming. Do come again. Like, please. Comment, please. Subscribe, please, and thank you. This is just episode 1 to the spooky series that I want to do for October, and probably a bit of November, because, you know, fall time, still considered spooky time regardless. Ta-ta!